YouTube, Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back. 49ers have fired Nick Sorensen. They relieved him of duties for defensive coordinator. This move was expected. I said in yesterday's video talking about the firing of Brian Schneider, 49ers special teams coordinator, that this was likely to happen. This decision was imminent. I mean, it was kind of like an inevitable type of situation. Nick Sorensen was beloved in San Francisco. There's a lot of players that like Sorensen, or Sorensen, however you want to say his name. So with him being demoted from defensive coordinator, the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan will try and retain him into another role. It's kind of ironic because Sorensen's actually got special teams coordinator experience. And with the firing of Brian Schneider, I could very well see Sorensen, promoted to or special teams coordinator, or not necessarily promoted to, but I could see the Niners, keeping on to him and making him their special teams coordinator if he's okay with that. Obviously, Sorensen was the defensive backs coach before being hired as defensive coordinator. So, yeah, I mean, Sorensen is definitely there's a lot of players in the locker room, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, that like Sorensen. And because of that, the 49ers want to hang on to him and find another role for him. Again, it was expected. The change needed to happen. The 49ers need to get an experienced guy in there. Robert Saleh would absolutely be my first choice for defensive coordinator to replace Sorensen. I don't need to even speak on why Robert Saleh should be the guy. I mean, if he is down to come back to San Francisco, be our defensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan and this organization should be all over that. Another guy that kind of comes to mind, Jeff Ulbrich. Jeff Ulbrich was the Jets interim head coach when Saleh was fired in New York. Ulbrich was actually the Jets defensive coordinator under Robert Saleh when obviously Saleh was there. Big fan of Ulbrich. Actually played for the 49ers during his playing career. The 49ers actually tried to lure him out of New York and to San Francisco last year during the offseason when they were obviously in the conversation for hiring a defensive coordinator. But obviously, they went with Sorensen anyway. Ulbrich was content where he was. I'm pretty sure Robert Saleh was actually the guy that was like, no, I want Ulbrich. I don't want you to go to San Francisco. But yeah, the 49ers tried to lure him out of New York last year. So that's another guy that I think could definitely be in the running. Gus Bradley, the former Colts defensive coordinator, runs a very similar scheme to what the 49ers are known for, the 4-3 scheme. Runs a very similar scheme, practically coaches that same defense. So that is another guy that I think the 49ers could hire. Even though Gus Bradley was fired and it didn't work out here in Indianapolis, I definitely think a lot of times, man, it's kind of situational type of things. Like, Brian Schneider was Seattle's special teams coordinator for years. I want to say at least 10 years. Under Pete Carroll during, the Legion of Boom era and things like that. So, I mean, obviously, Brian Schneider was a good, knowledgeable special teams coordinator. Just sometimes it doesn't work out, and it didn't work out in San Francisco, and, hence to why he was fired yesterday. So, the thing is with the defensive coordinator position, no matter who they hire, they've got to get somebody in here that is a player's type of coach, in my opinion, like DeMeco Ryans, like Robert Saleh was. I mean, the Niners were 8th in NFL yards allowed per game, but they clearly struggled to hold teams out of the red zone. They were allowing 25.6 points per game this year. That's the 4th worst mark in the NFL. And the team was near the bottom of the NFL with only 17 takeaways on the season and had a minus 10 turnover margin. So that was another big thing this year too. Like the 49ers were just not getting turnovers on the defensive side of things. And that's something in previous years that they've been known for, getting takeaways, interceptions, sacks, forced fumbles. I think really the only person that, was creating turnovers this year was Fred Warner with his forced fumbles. So, yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of names out there that I think the 49ers could look at in terms of, who they're going to hire for their next defensive coordinator. I definitely think their first option is Robert Saleh, without a doubt. I think I seen a report earlier today as well that the 49ers are very interested in bringing Robert Saleh back, and some people have said, I guess, that there is interest on both sides. Robert Saleh has interest as well as the 49ers. So, yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I would be ecstatic to get Robert Saleh back. I think it's almost, it's almost right for that to happen, right? Like, I don't know if Saleh will be, a head coach this year again. It would be a smart move on Robert Saleh's end too. Kind of take a step back, do another year as defensive coordinator, see what kind of head coaching opportunities open up after next season, and kind of go from there, because Robert Saleh will absolutely get another head coaching job eventually. There's no doubt in my mind with that. But I definitely think with, the way the year kind of ended for him, and with him being fired in New York, I think it would probably be pretty refreshing for Saleh to kind of take a step back, become a defensive coordinator again on a team that he's very familiar with in the 49ers. I know Fred Warner loves him. I mean, Nick Bosa loves him. All the guys that were on the roster during his tenure in San Francisco as defensive coordinator, everybody loves him. He's a player's coach. He's definitely a leader of men, and I think the 49ers defense can absolutely get back to that premier top NFL defense that they used to be under Robert Saleh being the coordinator. So that would obviously be my first choice. And then obviously Ulbrich, Gus Bradley, those are also two guys that I think could definitely be in the running for defensive coordinator as well, if Saleh decides to take his coaching career elsewhere. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I definitely think that the change was inevitable. It was coming. I said that in recent videos. It had to happen. Sorensen is a bright-minded coach in the NFL. Like Brian Schneider, it just didn't work out. There wasn't any major changes that Sorensen made throughout the season that kind of gave the Niners defense any hope. Like when things wouldn't work out, he wouldn't make adjustments, and I think that's kind of what really, really killed him, and kind of costed him his job. So that's that for the defensive side of things. In other news, Kyle Shanahan promoted Clint Kubiak to offensive coordinator. Now, that does not mean that Kubiak will call plays. Kyle Shanahan will still be calling plays, but that's a pretty major promotion. The Niners haven't had an offensive coordinator since Mike McDaniel in 2021. Kyle Shanahan has clearly always been the guy to kind of call plays. I think Mike McDaniel called plays in 22 maybe, or 21. I know Kyle Shanahan definitely gave up play calling at one point. I can't remember what year that was, but I know Mike McDaniel actually was the 49ers play caller at some point. It could have been for like a a 4 or 5 game stretch. I'm pretty sure that was an entire season where Kyle gave up play calling. But again, that's not happening here. They promoted Klay Kubiak to offensive coordinator heading into next year. However, Shanahan did say that he will continue to call plays, and that Kubiak's role is going to be the same as it's always been, which basically is offensive coordinator, but now he obviously gets the official title. So Kubiak, Shanahan, those guys have long-time ties. Both of their dads worked together for years in the NFL. Obviously, Klay's dad, Gary Kubiak, Super Bowl 50 winner with the Denver Broncos, and then, most notably, Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan. These guys go way back. Like, they've known each other for a very long time. Klay Kubiak's been here in San Francisco since 21. He began actually as a defensive quality control coach before he moved on to the offensive side of things in 22. He has since served as the assistant quarterbacks coach and offensive passing game specialist, which was the title that he held this year. So I think Kubiak is one of the brighter minds in football. I definitely think he is on his way to become an offensive coordinator, a head coach at some point. Like I said, I definitely think. Actually, this entire time I've been saying Klay Kubiak. It's actually Klay Kubiak. Klay Kubiak is the New Orleans Saints offensive coordinator. Sorry, got those mixed up. Klay Kubiak was promoted to offensive coordinator, not Klay Kubiak. That's where I'm getting the mix up there. So Klay Kubiak promoted to offensive coordinator, and then again, Nick Sorensen removed and out as the defensive coordinator. So let me know your guys' thoughts on both of these moves in the comments down below. Again, the whole Sorensen situation, that was expected. That was kind of inevitable, and it obviously finally came to fruition earlier today / late last night. So, let me know what you guys think of both of these moves in the comments down below. As always, go Niners, and I'll see you guys in the next one.